Good afternoon. Today is June 10th, 2025. Welcome to the San Marino Unified School District Board of Education meeting. Here's our board president, C. Joseph Chang.
Good afternoon. Right now it's 3:07 p.m. We are going to have an open section for today, June 10, 2025, regular school board meeting. First of all, I want to report there's nothing to report for the closed section. Next, I'd like to have a call to the order, and first of all, I'd like to do the roll call. Mr. Song,
Present.
Mrs. Lam,
Here.
Mrs. Ryan,
Here.
Mrs. Gear,
Here.
Mr. Chen, here. 6A, Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like have a board vice president to lead for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Please stand. Face the flag and place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
6B, approve of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the today agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, who second? Okay. Roll call, Mr. Song,
Aye.
Mrs. Lam,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Mrs. Gear,
Aye.
Mr. Chen, aye. Motion carried. 6C, approve of minutes. Do I have a motion approve of
So
the
moved.
the May 27, 2025 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Song,
Aye.
Mrs. Lam,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Mrs. Gear,
Aye.
Mr. Chen, motion carried. Do I have a motion to approve another meeting, May 27, 2025 special meeting minutes?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Song,
Aye.
Mrs. Lam,
Abstain. I didn't attend that one.
okay. Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Mrs. Gear,
Aye.
Mr. Chen, aye. Motion carried. I think that today we have a San Marino Unified School District spotlight.
No. No, I don't believe it. No.
Okay. We do have one for showcase, Pasadena showcase. They want to give us a donation, but due to the change to the schedule, I think they want to reschedule. Okay. 8, public comment. The Board of Education has adopted the Board Policy 9323B to ensure the public's right to be heard in any matter pertaining to the San Marino Unified School District. Person who wish to provide a public comment will have 3 options to submit a public comment. First, submit through an online form. Did we have any submission via the online form?
We have submissions.
Okay, second, request to speak during the meeting via the Zoom. Mr. Hong, please pause the meeting for 1 minute to collect the public comment.
We do not have any attendees on Zoom.
Okay. Third, request to speak during the meeting in person via the public comment card. Do we have any submission via the public comment card?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. 9, public hearing. I would like to turn it over to Dr. Lina Richter to conduct the public hearing and a comment on the 2025 to 2026 proposed local control accountability plan LCAP.
Thank you, President Chang, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Delatorre, and Executive Cabinet. In accordance with Ed Code 52062, the Board of Education is to conduct a public hearing to discuss the proposed 25-26 local control accountability plan. Today's public hearing was communicated to the public in the Tribune newspaper and at the district office. The proposed LCAP in draft form was also posted on the district's webpage and the district office for public review. Before adoption, the local control accountability plan shall be presented at a public hearing before the governing board for review and comment by members of the public. The proposed LCAP will be brought back to the Board of Education with a recommendation for adoption at the June 24th regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. Clock, if you could please pause the meeting for 1 minute for public comment.
1 minute has started.
Thank you.
Communications from the audience regarding matters not on the agenda or items in the consent, information, and action sections, please provide your comments now. If you'd like to request to speak during the meeting, please press the raise hand icon to make a request. If you're calling home from home, please dial *9 to make a request or submit a public comment card. There are 8 seconds left. There are no requests to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we continue for the public hearing 9B. I would like to turn it over to Dr. Stephen Choi to conduct a public hearing and a comment on the 2025 to 2026 proposed district budget.
Thank you, President Chang, members of the board and executive team. Mr. Huang, please start the timer for 1 minute. The Board of Education is conducting a public hearing on the proposed district budget for the 2025-26 school year. This hearing provides an opportunity for members of the public to share their comments regarding the proposed budget. If you wish to address the board and speak on this item, please submit a speaker card or raise your hand to make a request now.
There are no attendees wishing to speak.
Okay, thank you. Is that also there's a public comment card or? No, okay. So we conclude for public hearing for the 2025-2026 LCAP and also the budget. Next, 10 as a consent section. Do I have a motion to approve the consent section from the 10A through the 10F?
Move to approve consent section 10A through F.
Any second?
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Song.
Aye.
Mrs. Lam.
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Mrs. Gill.
Aye.
Mr. Chen. Aye. Motion carry. Communication section A, communication from the Board of Education. We ask each board member take no more than 3 minutes to share their communication for the last couple of weeks. And Mr. Song first.
Hi, thank you, President Chang. I just get a first chance to have the board retreat, and this is my first year. I came this far I'm surprised myself. And it's just amazed that I get to learn a lot of throughout the graduation, especially, and I start to, you know, taste what it was really like contributing to the community. And I happened to be going through the major M and major R too. It was a big experience for me, and I kind of get involved in the what is so important to both. You know, I'm the one of type of guy that sometimes I forgot to vote in the past. I gotta admit that. But now I'm the one who's going to the scout house and ask everybody to please vote and please vote. And, you know, I kind of change my stance after this. You know, it's just kind of eye opening for me. And hopefully I can continue and survive it. You know, I really appreciate all the boards support me. You know, I know you guys sometimes frustrated because I don't understand the basic terms sometimes, but I really appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, Mrs. Lam.
Thank you. So I believe the last 2 weeks, we've seen a lot of each other because the board has attended all 4 schools' promotions and graduations. So I want to take a moment to congratulate all of our class of 2025. They're moving on to great things and we're so proud. Congratulations to our 8th graders who are moving into the high school level, and we're excited for all the different programs that they'll be exposed to. And overall, like Josh mentioned, we had that board retreat today. Also very excited to share the goals that the board has come up with. So exciting time of the year because summer is starting, and I hope that everyone takes this well-deserved break. Thanks.
All right.
Next, Mrs. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chang. So we did enjoy 4 celebrations in terms of graduations and promotions. We have here with us our PTA presidents, and we want to just sincerely thank you for all the work that you do, whether you're on council or at the various sites. This is the new leadership. You guys are already starting work. I can't believe it. But also, it is just incredible the amount of support that we get from our families and our leadership on each of the sites. We had the Promethean breakfast last week. We also have had all the graduations and retirements. Congratulations to all of our staff that have retired. I'm a little bit jealous because they're all off on their adventures. And we had end of the year breakfast as well as other AEC CSBA conference information that I attended last week as well. President Chang and Dr. Delatorre will talk a little bit about the award at Disneyland, but I was there in spirit. And let me see, there's a couple more things I want to talk about. And that is really just the culmination of all the support the community has provided for us in terms of renewing the parcel tax that just passed. So thank you so much. And I continue to go out in the community and meet with parents that have any concerns. So I'm always available. So let me know and reach out to me. We've had grad night, and that was so successful. So I know that the grad night chairs are exhausted. I haven't seen a couple of them come out of their houses. And so I know that to be true. Anyways, thank you so much to the community on behalf of the board, and I will pass it on back to the board.
Okay, next, Mrs. Gear.
Thank you. My fellow board members did not leave me any events to speak about because we have all been to all of them. But I would also like to echo their sentiments. Thank you to the community. Congratulations to all of our students. Graduating or not, we made it through the year, and that is a huge accomplishment in and of itself. We've come very far this year as a school district, and I'm just really proud of us. And I think a big part of that is thanks to our executive cabinet team. And I just wanted to thank you guys for all the hard work that you put in. You really are the engine behind everything. So thank you. And thank you, Jennifer De La Torre, for taking care of us so well all the time. So thank you. Yeah, I think that's all I have to speak about. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I like to appreciate the PTA Council President and also the Valentine PTA President and committee member coming to attend the meeting because this is already summertime. You should taking care of your kid first. Yeah.
We'll try to be brief.
Yeah. Secondly, I have an honor to serve as the board president and attend for the Valentine became the California Distinguished School award ceremony with PTA President the Kim and also Dr. Territory. So we have a good time and spend a full day in Disneyland, but we did not go to playground. Yeah, just exchange. Next, the congratulations to whole school graduate. Especially, I said I'm also honored to make a speech because this speech actually to me is very meaningful. As I see from the pandemic until the post-pandemic stage, see how we do the teaching learning from at the home, then up to the current condition. I think we revitalize very quickly. Besides that, we have a big progress. As you know, this year a lot of achievement. So I feel our student and teacher not just resilience, also they have a lot of potential to make even better. Is that okay? And then the grade 9, I did not attend the grade 9 serving, but the next day morning I attend the tear down. So I put all the nail out. I want to make sure the next team they have a safe to put those the nail back to those decoration. So I feel once a year they change the volunteer, the leadership, and they just generation by generation to achieve for the San Marino tradition. That's a good experience. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
President Chang.
Next for you.
Members of the Board of
Yeah.
Education Executive Team. I too have really reflected on our past year and all of the amazing things that this school district has been able to accomplish. Not only did we successfully pass a $200 million bond measure, Measure M, but we were successful in renewing our Measure R parcel tax, which generates about $1.6 million a year and supports 11 math, science, and counseling positions district-wide, which are essential for the support of our wonderful students. Reflecting back, we have worked very, very hard to be very student-centered, and I am so grateful to our hardworking Board of Education, who just finished up their second day of strategic planning, wherein this morning, they were successful in developing their 4 broad-based goals for our 25-26 school year. We are going to be taking those goals effective tomorrow and developing action plans at every school site and within every department of the district that align with those strategic goals for the upcoming year. So we're very excited about that process. I also want to thank our wonderful PTA members, and I see Valentine is very well represented today. And just for all the hard work and everything that you do to really make sure that every single student that we serve gets what they need. We would not be the same school district if not for your help and support. You are so dedicated to partnering with our schools. That really is our secret to success, parents. And
thank you for volunteering your time, giving of your resources, and just being a part of our strategic plan to be successful. So thank you so very much for that. And I'm looking forward to a productive 2025-26 school year. So we are in the midst at the district office of planning for the new year and getting everything that we need in place to make sure that it is successful. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to the information item, I'd like to honor for our city council, Hunter Chen. I was very surprised about excited, you know, he commit for the first shift for the gatekeeper for the Grand 9. Yeah, he worked firm. So yeah.
So, so firm that Mr. Sung almost didn't get in.
Yeah, yeah. Way to go, Hunter. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go to the information item 12A 2025 to 2026 proposal local control accountability plan. I would like to turn it over to Dr. Lina Richter to present the proposed 2025-2026 local control accountability plan.
Thank you, President Chang, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Delatorre, and Executive Cabinet. This evening, I will be presenting an overview of the proposed 25-26 Local Control Accountability Plan. It is information item 12A on tonight's agenda. The Local Control Accountability Plan, also known as the LCAP, is a community-based, comprehensive, data-driven plan used to identify annual goals and specific actions aligned with state and local priorities. And the reason for this plan is it's a roadmap to our success, and it is used to facilitate continuous improvement. Oh, there we go. The purpose of tonight's presentation is to provide a brief overview of the proposed 25-26 LCAP, highlight some related outcome data, and review the LCAP adoption timeline. As required by Education Code, notice of the public hearing was posted 72 hours in advance of this meeting. Also pursuant to Education Code, the proposed LCAP must be presented at 2 separate but subsequent meetings of the Board of Education prior to the adoption of July 1st every year. A copy of the proposed LCAP was also included in the board packet before this evening, so the board would have an opportunity to review the LCAP in its entirety. Before I dive into a brief overview of the LCAP, I would be remiss if I did not recognize and thank our 24-25 LCAP Educational Partner Committee members for their time, their participation, their contributions, their input, and most importantly, their partnership. We are also very appreciative and grateful for our 2 very involved high school students, Lena and Jay Lee, who attended nearly every meeting, even when they had homework waiting for them back at home. And they were given permission to miss our very last meeting because I know that they were studying for finals. And this just gives you a list of all of our parents, our committee members, our students, our staff, from classified to certificated to management. So we did have a very robust team this year. As required also by Education Code, advisory meetings this year were conducted to gather input and feedback from all stakeholders. These meetings included 4 LCAP educational partner meetings and 4 district English learner advisory committee meetings. A draft of the 25-26 LCAP was also shared with the district English learner advisory committee and the San Gabriel Valley SELPA to gather input and feedback with regards to goals and actions outlined for English language learners and students with exceptional needs. Today's meeting serves as our LCAP public hearing, and on June 24th, the proposed LCAP, as mentioned before, will be brought back with a recommendation for approval. After approval, the San Marino Unified approved LCAP will then be submitted to the LA County Office of Education in conjunction with the district's budget, which will be prior to July 1st of this year, 2025. As mentioned previously, the LCAP is a 3-year plan developed by the district and stakeholders intended to align resources to goals and actions that align to our board priorities. They also include the required 8 state priorities, inclusive of all students, and ultimately leading to continuous improvement. The 25-26 LCAP serves as the district's second year of a 3-year LCAP cycle. Because this proposed LCAP will begin its second year, the LCAP committee members recommended no significant changes be made to the plan in order to effectively evaluate and observe progress made toward the desired goals throughout the 3-year LCAP plan cycle. That's a mouthful. One addition was made to include new legislation regarding English learners, and I will highlight that addition in an upcoming slide. This next slide highlights the 8 state required priorities that the state has identified as critical to student success and required to be included in the LCAP annually. They are conditions necessary for learning, pupil outcomes, and engagement. So all of those 8 priorities that you see can really be categorized into those 3 areas: conditions for learning, pupil outcomes, and engagement. You do see 10 up there. You're probably wondering why there's 10 and I'm mentioning only 8, because numbers 9 and 10 do not apply to local educational agencies, K through 12 or TK through 12. Those are for county offices of education and foster youth at the county offices as well. So this slide illustrates the alignment of these 3 conditions to the 3 LCAP goals. The 3 LCAP goals that we have for the 25-26 year really encompass these 3 areas: exemplary teaching and learning, safe and inclusive learning environments, and meaningful and authentic engagement. And you can see where each goal focuses just underneath the title. So for goal 1, it really focuses on academic achievement, teaching and learning, college and career readiness. Goal 2 are really all of the conditions that support student learning, academically, socially, emotionally, and physically. And then lastly, goal 3, increasing engagement, creating opportunities to promote academic, behavioral, and social emotional success. And that goes to students, staff, and our community, our parents. So this slide really outlines all of the metrics that the LCAP committee has identified for goal number 1, exemplary teaching and learning, and all of the related actions that support progress towards the goals and the metrics. Last year, for the first year of this 3-year LCAP cycle, you can see that we added the metrics that are listed there in bold font. This year, new legislation requires us to also include LTEL data, and that's at the dark blue at the very bottom on the left column. And LTEL stands for our long-term English learners. English learners who have been designated as English learners for 6 or more years. Hence, they become long-term English learners. And so the goal that the committee has recommended is to really focus on reclassifying those long-term English learners so that they are no longer designated as an English learner because they have reached a level of proficiency to be classified as a fluent English proficient student. And so you can see that that is now included in priority number 1 as a metric. For priority number 2, we see the same thing, metrics that we have highlighted on the left side and all of the aligned actions that will be implemented to support progress toward our goals to meet those metrics outlined on the left side. And last year, we did include district-wide professional learning days. We have 3 of them each year. We're going to continue those, and a focus on our wellness center at all 4 schools and expanding those services for all 4 schools. I want to point out on the right side as well, there's going to be a strong focus on instructional technology, and you can see we're expanding it to include AI, artificial intelligence. And lastly, for priority 3, the metrics again on the left side, and you've all seen these: graduation, attendance, chronic absenteeism, much of this data that we see reflected on the California School Dashboard, with the aligned actions that will be implemented on the right side. PBIS and restorative practices, we're going to expand that district-wide, so it's fully implemented TK through 12. Superintendent's Advisory Panel, which was added at the middle of last year, really has been a successful, I want to say it's a successful program or activity that we have implemented to really elevate student voice, so that we can create systems, conditions, and programs that really serve our students and their interests. And then lastly, again, focusing on security, cybersecurity tools, GoGuardian, and so forth. So for each priority, I just wanted to list a few of the metrics and the outcome data that we have collected. This is not all encompassing, but it's some of them that I wanted to show and highlight because we have seen substantial progress towards our metrics. So as you can see on the left side, we have our CASP data, which is our state assessment that's administered every spring. And we see growth from one year to the next. So from 2023 to 2024, we saw a 0.26 increase in the number of students who were meeting or exceeding grade level standards in ELA, and a 1.7 increase in math. And so we wanted to celebrate that. We've also broken it down by student groups. Students with disabilities, we also saw significant growth in math, up 7, almost 8% growth in math, and that's great. Socioeconomically disadvantaged students, we also saw almost a 10% growth in math. So those two areas, those two student groups have done very, very well in math. Our English learners, as you can see, they are making tremendous progress in ELA and in math, as demonstrated by this assessment. And then our ELPI, which is progress towards English proficiency. And the CAS at the just under that title stands for the California School Dashboard. As reported by the California School Dashboard, we performed at a very high level, 10%, 11% increase from the year prior on the students making progress towards English proficiency. The CAST, the science, we know this is an area that we will continue to focus on. We did see a little dip last year, but we are really diving into curriculum adoption and supplemental materials and assessments that will help us increase our CAST scores. Reclassification of English learners to English proficient. We also saw a significant increase in college readiness based on the early assessment program. These are our 11th graders. We saw significant growth in ELA and math, significant growth all the way down. We did see a little dip, a 0.5, just 0.5% in our graduation rates, but we're confident that we're going to raise that back up to 99.5. And then CTE completion rate, we saw a positive, I don't know why the plus is missing, a positive 21% growth. And when we looked into that, I thought that was a very large increase. The way it was reported, now we're looking specifically at the CDE when we're looking at reporting. There's multiple ways of looking at it, and no matter which website you go to find this data, you'll find different data. So we're going to keep consistent. So from year to year, we can accurately assess the progress. And then our CTE completion rates, along with A through G completion, we did see a 12% increase. So we're very proud of goal number 1, exemplary teaching and learning, and the progress our students overall, all student groups are making. For priority 2, which is our safe and inclusive learning environments, really creating conditions that allow for student success, socially, emotionally, and physically. We've maintained 100% fully credentialed and appropriately assigned teachers. Our schools every year go through a facility audit, if you will. It's an inspection, and all 4 schools earned exemplary status, which is the highest status you can earn for being in good condition. We're continuing full implementation of standard aligned instructional materials only, maintaining a 1-to-1 technology ratio. Professional development, I think this past year we've done extremely well. Not only throughout the year, but really taking advantage of our 3 professional development days and providing our teachers the tools, the training, and the resources necessary to really deliver high quality instruction that's also personalized for all of our students. We've also expanded it to parents as well. When we have restorative practices, when we have universal design for learning, when we have PBIS, we've opened that up and really included our parents as well, because we know that the learning extends beyond the classroom and we want our parents to be able to support that at home. We also administer a culture survey every year. I think as parents at home and in the audience today know that. It's called the California Healthy Kids for our students, the California Staff Survey, and the California Parent Survey. And that's administered usually in February of March every year. And the results for that are actually very positive this year. We're very proud of that. So based on parent responses, we did see an uptick pretty much across the board on parents' perceptions based on this survey, promoting the academic success of all students, motivating students to learn, adults that care about students. Are schools a safe place for my child? So we're very happy to see that our numbers are going higher. The staff culture survey also reported positive outcome data, supporting and inviting place for students, 99%, that's amazing. Setting high standards for academic performance, believing every child can be successful, and again, a safe place for students. And I want to point out that our parents and our staff both came in at 97%. So there is alignment there with their perception of schools being a safe place for our students. And the last one is creating meaningful and authentic engagement for our students. And this is really about all of the stuff that we see on the dashboard, our attendance rate, our chronic absenteeism rate. And you're probably saying, well, that's not positive. It's negative 1.6, negative 1.66. We do want that number to be negative. We want our chronic absenteeism to go down. This is the one metric we want to see decline. Suspension rates went down, expulsion rates remain at 0. Our wellness center referrals did increase by 27. And then we also included a staff survey, parent survey, and student survey for involvement and engagement. And you can see across the board that we did see a lot of positive results from all 3 of those surveys. This last slide is just the process that our committee went through. It is the adoption timeline. We started all the way back in November. That is a typo. My apologies. It should be 2024. We started our first meeting in November. Then we had our second meeting in January. And with each meeting, we reviewed each goal and really took a deep dive into what those goals were, what metrics we were utilizing, and looking at the activities to demonstrate if they were effective in meeting those goals or making progress toward those activities. And we also had representation from many of our departments: business services, special education, English learners, food services, wellness center come in and also present data on how well they're doing throughout the year. And then lastly, it brings us to today, June 10th, for our public hearing. Our next meeting, we will be making a recommendation for the board for adoption. And then lastly, submitting it to the California Department of Education. First, it will go to LACO, and then it will go to the California Department of Education for final submission. And with that, that is a brief overview of the proposed LCAP for 25-26. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any question or comment?
Yes.
Thank you for preparing all of that data to share with us. I was just curious, how many parents participated in the survey, like number?
I can get that. I don't have it off the top of my head, but it was
a participation rate out of, yeah.
Absolutely. And I will say thank you to our PTA presidents and our school site council and our principals at home for really encouraging our parents and our staff to take part of that survey, because the data is very important to us. Although it's one metric, it's one of many that we look at to identify our glows, as Dr. Delatorre said, what we're doing really well and areas that we may want to do a little better in. But I can absolutely provide that data.
Yeah, I'm very impressed that we have 0% dropout.
Wait, I'm sorry?
The 0% dropout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, we've
Absolutely.
been
For
having
many
0%
years.
for many years.
Yeah.
So as this morning, we set up the new goal, we add one new goal. This new goal, we try to advocate or to promote what we already provide in the school. So I think that the parent survey or other survey, we should think with the goal. Yeah, and then later routinely we can share to the school parent. Yeah. Instead of someone said you need to do the dashboard, yeah, to discuss some the student result. So I think yeah, we need to continue, yeah, to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that the dashboard, the culture surveys, the CASP assessment is just one measure that we utilize. We look at many to really triangulate the data and really see what the data is telling us. And I think thank you for mentioning the planning session today, because I think that's important. The LCAP is a living document. So if we do need to make any updates or changes, the committee will make that recommendation, and they are able to be made.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more question?
Great job.
Okay, LCAP is information only this time. Let's go to the 12B 2025 to 2026 proposed district budget. I would like to turn into Dr. Stephen Choi to present this budget.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Chang, members of the board, Superintendent Delatorre, and executive team. I'm providing a presentation on the proposed 25-26 district budget as an information item. I would like to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation to our Director of Accounting, Ms. Vanjie Lingat, and our accounting analyst, Ms. Susanna Barbara, who is sitting in the audience today, for their outstanding work and contributions in developing this proposed budget. Let's begin with a look at the broader statewide budget context. The first slide illustrates the governor's January proposed budget for 25-26. And as you can see from the pie chart, about 40% of the state's general fund is allocated to K-12 education, indicating the state's ongoing commitment to education funding. Since then, the governor released the May Revise, which reflects a downturn in state revenues. The economic uncertainty and projected reductions in state revenues resulted in a reduction of about $4 billion to the Proposition 98 guarantee, which directly affects public education funding across the state. The next two slides summarize the key planning factors used in developing our proposed 25-26 budget. The statutory COLA, or cost of living adjustment, is at 2.3%, and it is fully funded and applied across the local control funding formula components, which include the base grants, the grade span adjustments, and the transitional kindergarten add-on. However, it's important to note that the TK add-on amount was decreased in the May Revise from what was initially proposed in January from $6,204 to $5,545 per ADA. In developing the budget, we also consider other planning elements such as lottery revenues, mandate block grant allocations, and employer contributions to retirement systems. Notably, the CalPERS contribution rate decreased to 26.81% for 25-26, which is a positive development. Turning to the revenue assumptions, you'll see that our ADA, or average daily attendance projection, is conservative at 2,965.74. Although our district experienced enrollment growth in 24-25, statewide and county trends still indicate a broader pattern of declining enrollment. Our LCFF revenue is projected to increase, and federal revenues are projected to be lower due to the expiration of one-time pandemic relief funds. Lower local revenue projections are shown here to be lower, but this is typical for proposed budgets because we do not project most donations or contributions until they are actually realized. We are, however, projecting local revenues from the Schools Foundation to be lower in 25-26 at $1.7 million. On the expenditure side, as expected, the majority of the budget is dedicated to salaries and benefits. Compared to 24-25 estimated actuals, our 25-26 projections show lower expenditures in categories such as books and supplies, equipment, and outgo. This is typical and is a result of conservative budgeting practices at this stage, as it is common to see adjustments to expenditures as we progress through the year. And this next slide demonstrates our efforts to balance the budget. While we currently show deficit spending in our 24-25 estimated actuals, we are not projecting deficit spending in 25-26 or the 2 years that follow at this time. On this slide, you'll see a summary of our ending fund balance. We plan to meet the 3% minimum reserve requirement set by the state. The fund balance also includes assigned and committed balances. As discussed in our board study session on May 27th, and with the passage of Measure M, we plan to use bond proceeds to pay off the certificates of participation, or COPs, for the Huntington Middle School Barth Complex. And as a result, we plan to bring an action item to the board at a future meeting, recommending that the $1.5 million committed to future COP payments be uncommitted and transferred to the committed balance future fiscal stabilization. Additionally, in light of anticipated state cash deferrals, we plan to bring another action item to move $2 million from the cash flow reserve to the cash flow fund. This would help ensure we have the cash needed to meet payroll obligations during future deferrals. To conclude, while declining enrollment remains a key challenge, this proposed budget represents a sound financial plan based on the best information available at this time. We plan to recommend the 25-26 budget for adoption at the June 24th board meeting and submit the final budget to the Los Angeles County Office of Education by July 1st. And as always, because the budget is a living, dynamic document, we will provide updates throughout the year in the form of interim reports in December and again in March. To conclude, this proposed budget is an information item and no actions need to be taken today. I will bring the budget back for adoption on June 24th. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any question? Okay, I have a question. Can you go to the first? Yeah, first one. Okay. Total funding, ADA.
Yes.
So since we project we are continue to increase the enrollment, right? But we still cannot break to up to the 3,000 because of the the student tech sick or what?
So ADA projections are based on a formula, and based on the current trends of declining enrollment in Los Angeles County and also in the state, we take what numbers that we currently have in our 24-25 year and we roll it into the following year. So as a conservative budgeting tool, we want to stay with that formula. We don't want to go out too far and be so aggressive that you are projecting huge increases in enrollment when you don't have the data to support that. So this is a very conservative approach to projecting ADA. The 3,018.99 is an estimated actual, and that's very reliable. That is based on our P2 ADA, which is fairly accurate. But in terms of projecting for 25-26, that is a very conservative projection.
Okay, and then the next, this morning we talk about the fiscal health. So I mentioned about the books and the supply.
Yes.
So that we budget for about $4 million. So if we go to the digital textbook, what is the potential we can cut down the cost?
Well, I think we're always looking for ways to reduce expenditures. And of course, we will absolutely explore and perhaps even pilot additional digital books to reduce expenditures of books.
So we also talking about AI. So how much we have to budget about AI?
Do you have a budget for AI?
Yeah.
That counted to the yet, or we haven't, right?
So we do have funds assigned, for example, under board goals. And that is a topic that we will bring back to the board to discuss in terms of whether or not this particular expenditure, for example, is aligned with the board goal. Or we could also perhaps even look into program and innovations. We have an assigned balance for that. So there are funds available that would help advance that goal. But of course, we will be bringing that back to the board as well when we consider those.
Related to that line item, can you expand on how this year's books and supplies and equipment projections went down by half? And same for the equipment went down by almost 2 million.
Yeah, so what you see highlighted in the blue column for projected budget for 25-26, that is a projection.
Right.
That is truly based on what we currently know that we intend to spend on books and supplies. The reality is, if you look back in time for 24-25, the reality is we have spent more than what was projected last year when this was presented. So as the first interim comes around and the second interim comes around, potentially you'll see that expenditures on books and supplies may go up.
Understood. So why are we not projecting a more conservative, closer to an actual amount versus cutting it in half?
Because the actual conservative approach is what we're doing, which is we've identified these as expenditures for 25-26. What we don't know at this time is whether or not we'll have additional supplies expenditures. Chances are we will. And a lot of that sometimes will come because of curriculum. We'll get proposals. We will likely get donations that will contribute towards supplies as well. And that will increase that number in terms of expenditures for books and supplies.
And when you make this projection, have you discussed with school foundation? What is the wish number?
We do collaborate and work with the school's foundation, and of course we rely on their input and data as well as we develop projections for revenues for the school district.
Can you talk about where we are funding the transportation deficit that we lost from the city?
We haven't clearly
And the
identified.
trash, like those.
Yeah. So we anticipate additional expenditures in terms of operations for trash service, as well as additional expenditures for transportation. In 24-25, we benefited from the city of San Marino, where our trash services were included as part of their contract. Unfortunately, in 25-26, the city's agreement for trash services does not include the school district. We are covered for 4 months. So from July through November, we are receiving trash services through Valley Vista. However, we are not included for trash services moving forward from the city. So that is an anticipated additional expenditure for the school district. Secondly,
Has that been included then in?
yes, that is
Okay,
included
yeah.
as part of our projected expenditures.
Mhm.
And secondly, in terms of transportation, the school district has benefited from receiving Proposition A funds that the city of San Marino has contributed to our district in the form of reimbursements. That is to the tune of approximately $150,000 a year. In 25-26, the city of San Marino has notified us, informing us that those funds will no longer be available to the school district. So we do anticipate that as an additional expenditure for us in terms of transportation.
Facility this fee, when is the last, is that we adjust the rate every year, or we adjust every couple year or several years?
Well, facilities use rates really depend on the facility. It depends on the situation. It depends on the parties that are either renting or using the facility. So we've, at least in my year thus far, I've been evaluating each agreement on a case-by-case basis. As far as revenues go for 25-26, we are projecting stable revenues for facility use. Of course, we have newer tools to help us evaluate and assess our facility use rates. And I would say that as we have more data, we will be revisiting our facilities use rates so that it is competitive and up to date.
Any more question?
Stephen, as we look at transportation and the sewage costs, right? And fees and perhaps crossing guard in the future. And then we're looking at transportation and Wheelot. Are we able to figure out other sources of funding? Is there a way in which after the next 4 months that we're going to be able to figure out what to do with all of these? Because moving forward, you're not talking about a one-time cost of 150. You're talking ongoing. How are we going to cover those costs? So are we looking at that? That's the first question. Then the second question is really about ADA, the attendance. Are there some things, assumptions that we make that perhaps we need to also consider or reconsider in terms of attendance rate in light of some of the happenings with housing, political atmosphere, all of that? Do we look at any of that at all?
I'll start by addressing the first question in regards to our ongoing expenditures related to operations. That is something that we have included in terms of developing the budget for 25-26. As far as identifying sources, there are sources of revenues that we can tap into to help pay and offset that expenditure. But that is something that we will continue to work on. We are taking advantage of the fact that we're covered for the next 4 months. But it is an ongoing expenditure. It is a utility, trash service. So it would be a priority for us to ensure and maintain that level of service. In regards to transportation, it's devastating for our high school, especially including our elementaries that have benefited from that program, where you can utilize Proposition A funds and get reimbursed for that, because Proposition A funds are designed to provide transportation services to a community. So as we explore, we are looking at updating our ask in the first day packet. That's one thing that we're working closely with our principals with. But we are exploring all options to see how we can improve that revenue source for transportation. In regards to the second question regarding ADA rates, we are a school district within Los Angeles County and within the state of California, and the enrollment trends are still not looking good for California. It's still declining. In fact, Los Angeles County is the most severe in terms of declining enrollment, at a projected 18% decline in enrollment over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. That is quite significant. San Marino Unified is very fortunate to experience continued growth, at least for the last 2 years. And a large part in terms of how that is possible, we've said it once and I'll say it again, is due to the fact that San Marino Unified provides a high quality education due to its innovative programs such as the Dual Language Immersion Program, the Titan Medical Arts Academy. All of these programs and all of the things that the district is doing is continuing to attract students, which allows us to proudly say that this is a destination district. So we have that going for us, and that has helped tremendously. And with the onset of transitional kindergarten, that has also provided us an additional revenue source as we see increases in student enrollment through transitional kindergarten. So we have a couple of things that are working out very well for us in terms of supporting our revenues at this time to offset declining enrollment in the bigger scheme of things.
I just wanted you to talk about those things. Sure.
Can you get into what the equipment, the projection is the same for the next 3 years, what that would encompass or entail?
Yeah, so for equipment, it's a very conservative projection. There are certain things that we know, for example, that we'll be spending money on. A good example of that is, for example, our Chromebooks. It is, we've piloted various models. We've even tweaked it so that now we are providing a Chromebook for every sixth grader and incoming ninth grader, as well as one grade level at the elementary levels. So we know that that is an expenditure that we can project moving forward. However, you'll see that the estimated actuals for 24-25 was at $2.6 million. Now, a significant portion of that was probably due to the fact that we implemented air conditioning units using federal ESSER dollars to do that. But I would bet that our expenditures for equipment could rise as additional things come up. One year we had a flooding at Huntington Middle School that significantly increased our expenditures in equipment. Knock on wood, hopefully we don't experience additional flooding or any unanticipated increases in the equipment. But chances are we may get additional revenues that will allow us to spend more on equipment, and that equipment figure will go up.
Do you include a computer as a equipment category or the separate?
In this case, sometimes I believe.
So that's lumped in with like HVAC and Chromebooks are all together?
Possibly.
Just because
I
it's
know
so
for
simple.
some years it was supplies too, but is this?
But there's books and supplies as above.
Inspired food. Okay. So our model of replenishing our Chromebooks is categorized as equipment. However, if I had to replace one laptop, then it would come out of supplies. Yeah.
I think
Well-
that's what Mrs. Lamb was asking before, talking about being like, in my mind, you're saying these are conservative, but they seem very optimistic and not conservative. Is that what you were getting at too?
Yeah. Just
Like,
because.
'cause
the
we're
actuals
anticipating-
reflect what it is, so, but we're projecting it to be like 50% less than what the actual, like historical data tells us it was 4 million as an example. But we're projecting 2, and then same for the equipment, we're deducting almost 2 million. Understanding that this is gonna change as we move through the school year, yeah.
What is the,
Probably won't be.
Book adoption, is that why
Out of our
that
deficit,
is
I think.
inflated for 24, 25?
That's the thing.
For the books and supplies, we did purchase textbooks in 24-25.
That's why it was inflated for that 1 year. We're not gonna do textbook adoptions every single.
So that's cyclical, so that
Yes,
goes.
it happens on a cycle.
And then with equipment, is it possible that if we have new construction, equipment would be eliminated from this budget, if it could be included in the project list of the Measure M funds?
So
Because that's separate.
yeah, so for Measure M, we have a separate fund that we're gonna designate revenues and expenditures for. It's Fund 21, I believe. So we want to keep the accounting very clean on Measure M related expenditures, yeah.
go-
Yes.
Why estimate actions, it's much higher, there's still, estimate in there, things that we, yeah, if we don't make it, it rolls over to next year, so if there's some carryover of the spend, they will then project in the following year.
More, okay.
Yeah, so right now I'm projecting. Next this year, this towards the end, it's going to be some, which is a lot more. That will be in progress, for example, and then if it doesn't, get, expense this year, and we still have 4 years to spend it, then we'll go. So then, probably by first, you'll probably see then, when we get to the school, higher, considering kind of all.
Thank you.
So how long the lifetime for the computer one on the staff and the teacher? How often they change?
Well, for Chromebooks, Google will tell you it's good for 10 years, but reality is that we are estimating anywhere from 3 to 4 years. Yep. Yeah, for Chromebooks.
Is that this year also is like a critical new beginning, right? They start to promote the AI computer, right? So is that we have to
So-
buy or not?
It's gonna be more server, right? Not
Yeah.
not necessarily Chromebook need to be upgraded for the AI project, but it's gonna be different infrastructures we need to
Mhm.
invest on. So I think Chromebook is okay because Chromebook is just like a client. We just have internet access and all the processing is going to happen inside of servers.
And I'm going to put a shameless plug for the AI committee because Mr. Kwok Huang is building that AI committee. And we would like to solicit and seek the interest of those that would like to serve on the AI committee because the work of the committee will help guide the solutions and AI products and services that we will use moving forward. And as we look at AI products and services, we have to keep costs in mind. We can't just go out and build a whole new data center for the purposes of AI,
Right.
but yet we can take advantage of a lot of things at a cost-efficient manner.
Yeah, the yesterday I did not mention because I want to save the time, but right now I draw the question, if we want to establish the partnership with a high-tech company, what is the compliance issue, what we can accept, what we cannot accept? So you don't have to answer now. So I like to know because I want to contact them, see we can be eligible to partner. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely opportunities for partnerships and opportunities for us to host our own services. But that's the part of what the AI task force is tasked to do, right? Figure out what we want to do.
Yeah, we need your expertise. to- Okay, so this information only. Let's go to the 13 action item. 13A, the second reading of Board Policy 6173, Education for Homeless Children. Dr. Dina Richter.
Thank you, President Chang, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Delatorre, and the Executive Cabinet. Board Policy 6173, Education for Homeless Children, was presented to the board for a first reading at the May 27th public board meeting. Since then, no updates have been made to the board policy. So this evening, staff is bringing Board Policy 6173 back to the Board of Education with a recommendation for adoption.
Any question? If not, do I have a motion to approve the second reading of Board Policy 6173, Education of Homeless Children?
So moved. Second.
Okay, roll call, Mr. Song.
Aye.
Mrs. Lam.
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Mrs. Gill.
Aye.
Mr. Chen, aye. Motion carried. 13B, 2025 to 26 certificate of signature. I would like to turn it over to Dr. Stephen Choi to present the 2025 to 26 certification of signature for approval.
Okay, thank you, President Chang. What you have presented before you for approval is the certification of signatures. It includes the school site principals, assistant principals to sign contracts totaling $5,000 or less. It also includes warrants on associated student body accounts. It also authorizes cabinet to sign warrants, salary payments and contracts, including the director of maintenance and operations for contracts up to $15,000. Also included on there is also the purchasing manager to sign purchase orders.
Is each person have a same limit or with a different?
Different limits, yes.
Any question?
I had a question earlier that Dr. Choi addressed, but I can vocalize it now so everyone can hear what I was wondering about the mechanisms in place for oversight and transparency of these expenditures and
Yeah, if I may elaborate,
Yes,
the
please.
certification of signatures form, it is procedural. It is something that we do every year, and it's aligned with California Education Code. But it's important to understand that the certification doesn't override or bypass any district established purchasing or procurement protocols. All of the existing procedures will remain firmly in place. For example, before any purchase can be made, a requisition must be submitted, and then it is tied to a funding source with an assigned account string. And then that requisition is reviewed by the district's purchasing department to ensure that it complies with all applicable procurement regulations. Some of it may be local, state, or federal. And then only after all these steps are completed can a purchase order be issued. Moreover, all contracts, requisitions, and purchase orders are ultimately presented to the Board of Education for formal review and approval. So in short, the certification of signatures doesn't change or weaken our oversight processes. It allows us to keep our internal controls in place.
Thank you. That was really valuable information.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the 2025 to 26 certification of signature?
Move to approve.
Any second?
So moved.
Roll call, Mr. Song,
Aye.
Mrs. Lam,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Mrs. Gill,
Aye.
Mr. Chen, motion carried. The last one, 14, board superintendent discussion item. Need to pass to the the other board members. Any interest topic? No.
No,
Great.
very good.
Okay. Well, if not,
I'm looking forward to our new goals. Dr. De La Torre did a great job leading the board this morning, and typically we've had professionals come in who just specialize in retreats and team building things, but you have built a great team here, so I think we are all set with that. I'm excited for unrolling these new goals. I think they're great. Yeah.
yeah, I'm also very excited. This morning within I think the 2 hour, yeah,
It's amazing.
we can set up the goal, and this goal, I think, it should be very practical, because last 2 years we set up the goal, but right now we have an improvement and with the goal, and then we also, in the meantime, we also need to keep evaluate, see what is something is not achieved, and then we can respond to the parent. Yeah. Any more? If not, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Anyone make motion?
We can adjourn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, meeting adjourned at the
Oh.
4:19.